film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Because indie film is, well, nobody watches
It's doing
indie
all right,
film.
man. Indie film has been doing all right this week in St. Louis.
Okay.
Mackie, did Chris just startle you just then?
He did.
I mean, he
did.
put some extra pepper in that.
No,
one.
I know. He's trying to
it?
change it up a little bit on something because I don't know how he got the job, and I'm glad he's got it because he does it really well.
Okay.
Man,
No.
keep up that energy. But you were saying, Mackie.
I said indie film doesn't suck because this week we had a great screening from Nathan Karimi. Is that right?
That's right.
That's right.
Okay. So we just saw Oscar Tango Hellwater.
Yes.
So a lot of good things going on in St. Louis. That was a great screening. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it a little bit or.
Yeah, what a great piece of art.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was really, really done well. The way the camera movement was, the lighting and the everything, the acting was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Holy
acting was
cow.
phenomenal.
So, I mean, I have to give props to him. So if the acting was good and everything else was good, I guess the directing was pretty damn good. So good job for you, Nathan. I'm very proud to be a friend of yours, man. Good job.
It was awesome to watch. I'm glad we finally got to see it after, I don't know how long I've been waiting to see it.
A while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and check out a couple of the actors who are in Red Nighted Skies.
Jackie Kelly and Zach Farmer and Scully Shimwell.
Oh, three of the actors. Yeah. So that's awesome. Good to see that. What else we got going on? What do we got? Festival front. What do we got? Just sent them off.
Just sent them off. Sent them off to 8, maybe 9. We're not going to hear back for a while.
Okay.
We're either going to get in them or we're not. I mean, that's how the festivals go.
Keep them posted.
Yeah.
Keep them posted. Distribution front.
Distribution front.
Well,
We have our first distributor up to bat.
Up the bat. Got the text the other night, and they want to talk to us.
Yeah.
So we sent the screener off, and they're excited, and they want to talk to us. So
yeah, we knew that was coming. We pretty much prepared for talking to distributors for a while now. So
Yeah.
we have a checklist on things we'd like to hear from them, and maybe a checklist from us that we'd like to them to hear from us.
yeah. So in a couple weeks, I think we'll let the folks know how that went for us.
Yeah.
The initial conversation. Because we've been batting around. Maybe we can talk about this a little bit, but we were batting around going, what's that first conversation going to be like? Yes, it's going to be a lot of, oh, your movie was so great. Oh, it was so good. Oh, this is
Oh,
my
we
one."
hope so.
But we really,
Well, it's better than your movie was kind of half-assed, but there's a lot of half-assed movies out there making money.
There are.
no, it's true.
So I don't want them to say that.
That's been my experience with distributors. Is the first conversation is usually they are very overflowing with praise for your film and the things they can do, the things they'd like to see, the places they'd like to go, and all of that essentially in the first conversation doesn't mean anything. What means something is the language in the contract.
Right. And that's what I'm interested in seeing what you just said. If that happens, because this will be my first experience being on the phone with a distributor after they viewed our movie, because we talked to this distributor once already.
Yeah.
When we were still early on, probably a little premature, but it was nice of them to introduce, us to get introduced to them.
Oh yeah.
So we had a connection there. Now they want to talk to us about our movie, but I'm interested on how that conversation really goes.
So going into contracts, I mean, Chris, Greg, do you want to talk about what some contracts we've received in the past look like and why we're not going to go with that type of model ever again?
I have been to the distribution circus 3 times. One time, absolutely nothing came of it. The whole deal fell apart really before it got off the ground.
What did they ask you, though? What was the deal?
The deal with amphetamine was it was going to be bundled with like 5 or 6 other low-budget kind of action thriller films, and it was going to go out in one sort of DVD deal.
Okay.
And that deal just basically fell apart, which happens.
And was there a certain split at that moment in time they were even talking about?
I don't even know what the split would have been, but it was like 5 or 6 other low-budget films, and they're all kind of tied together, and they go out in a DVD bundle. and everyone gets a percentage of that.
But that was amphetamine.
That was amphetamine.
Okay.
That was 20 years, something years
Yeah,
ago.
it was close to 20 years ago.
Right.
So then Rhineland, the deal, it's a fair deal with that movie.
I looked at and Chris, I was actually really surprised how clean, because you kept saying, it's clean, Chris. It looks great. It's not, I didn't do anything that anybody else wouldn't have done. But man, that contract is so just clean.
It's like 5 pages.
But it's not executed.
No,
on
it's
their
not
end.
executed.
It's not
No.
executed on their end properly. So that's
No.
the difference. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But.
So essentially, what you want to put in your contract are as many breach clauses as they will let you.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, if they're not reporting on time, breach a contract. Anything that will let you to get out of the contract if they don't do sort of the bare minimum. Because anything an honest distributor, an honest person will do, it is honest to give you a fair accounting on time.
Right.
You're not asking for the world there. You're asking for basically the bare minimum. Tell me what I'm making, when you're supposed to tell me what I'm making, and then give me what I'm making. And if I'm making zero, tell me why I'm making zero.
Yeah, if you're a partner, wouldn't it just be great if you were honest
Yeah.
and
Right.
maybe partner up again? But
Try to position the contract language so they have to disclose.
they have to be honest.
And they have to, right, and on things that they should be honest and upfront with anyway.
Yeah.
We just know that in order to take that second tier kind of protection, that you got to put those clauses in there.
And what you don't want to give up also is control of your key art, because that's another way that distributors can funnel money away from your film. They can funnel money away from you. Essentially, well, we had to pay our graphic designer $6,000 or $10,000 for all this new key art because what you had just wasn't working for us. That's all horse shit.
So they're
man.
going to so you're saying you give the money away because they're going to recuperate that through receipts
Yeah.
before you get a dime.
Yeah, exactly. So if they have to pay, in quotation marks, pay a graphic designer $10,000 to redo the key art, I mean, they're probably just paying themselves, right? So you want to keep control of that if you can.
yeah, we're going to try for that for sure. I do know that watching other independent filmmakers have to give that up for the key art, like Greg is talking about.
In your key art, I'm talking about the poster art, the DVD art, all the main images that are going out.
Yeah, so like a DVD cover or the key art you see on IMDb or something like that, or any platform, the picture that pops up on your TV, right?
Yep.
So in different markets, they want different looks. They've even renamed some movies just because they know that the name will sell better in a different market, like say Asia. Like Asian markets, they like guns and knives and all kinds of shit. You know, and that's not our movie, but they may put guns and knives,
On the cover.
on the cover of the key art just to make it sell better. Like there's tons and tons of independent films in different markets that their key art looks different than their one they have for the United States or North America market.
Yeah.
So we could change that up ourselves. What Greg is saying, we don't need to.
No, because we have a person. Some people
do.
don't.
Right.
And understanding that's one of the ways that distributors, because some people need it.
Correct.
If you need it from them, I suggest go out and try to find somebody to quote it yourself and see if you can negotiate that. We happen to have a buddy that does it very well. He's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
But B, understanding that that's what they're going to do. Yes, can they inflate the cost? Absolutely. Can they use it as something as a shelter or a shield to hide other costs behind? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The grand scheme of things is they're using it to benefit the film for everyone. It's just you're not getting that clear reporting back on what they spent,
Exactly.
right, and why they did it. All those key things that you want to hear back from them and going, hey guys, before I do this, this is why I'm doing it. This is how much it's going to cost. And then you going and looking and going, yeah, that makes a good business sense for both of us.
Yeah, we want really good itemized deductions.
Yeah, ask for that line item, ask for that itemization. They might not give it to you. They might say, man, this is more trouble than it's worth. We can go down to the next guy who's going to say, yeah, 10 years is great. A $60,000 P&A cap is great. I don't care. I just want the movie out there. You know, they might not want to put up with your nonsense, but that's fine because you know why? If not, you can always release it yourself.
Right, and I think that the key or the point you're trying to make to everybody listening is there's certain things within there, key art's one of them, that there's an importance to understanding how that money might be spent on your behalf that you're never going to recuperate because they went and did it.
And that leads to the other big thing they hide money behind is a P&A cap. That Greg
Yes,
always
P&A
talks
is
about.
prints and advertising. some distributors are going to ask for a large P&A cap. So they can properly market your film. Like, where are you going to market this film, man? What are you going to do? Take out a full-page ad in Fangoria magazines? I mean, come on, man.
Right. What are you going to do with the money? And like we were talking, for us, we're thinking going, I don't know, is 5,000 good to start with?
I'd go lower.
Well, even show us what you spent that on, and I'll give you more.
Exactly.
Because I want to see that the fruits of that money. Can I see it somewhere? Can I actually see what they did?
If there's bang for your buck and you spend $3,500 and it does something, well, hey, let's spend another 35. Let's spend 5.
For every 35, you're going to generate X amount in sales.
Right.
Perfect. Let's see what the first 35 does.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, a lot of distributors, they're not going to want to mess with that if they don't have to.
Right.
And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But that doesn't mean you have to go with them. You don't have to sign with them. Because once you sign, it's done.
Well, it's legal.
Yeah, it's legal.
It's legal in a sense of the eyes of the law, and they're good at it, and they're good at the contracts, and it costs a lot of money to undo it.
So also, what kind of terms were they talking about as far as lengths of how long they would have ownership of the film in your past experience?
The first one was only 5 years. Second one was 10 years.
Woo! Ass kicked into tenure. Don't do that shit ever again.
No.
That really, god damn.
I'll tell you what we're going to ask for, what we're absolutely not going to get. We're going to ask for 1 year with the ability to extend after 1 year. No one's going to want to do that.
But giving that, I even think you go a little bit further and not saying we have to re-up after a year, going, if you meet all the obligations and you show us all the stuff, we'll give you another year.
Yeah.
So it leads more to saying all you have to do is perform and we'll give you another year.
Yes.
So it's really in perpetuity as long as they are meeting the obligations of the film and everybody's happy with the contract. But it gives both parties to come out.
And why do you think they went 5, 7, 10 years?
Think about this. Okay, let's say their standard is 10 years, and they sign, 10 films a month. Let's just say that. So that's what, 120 films a year?
It's good math.
Yeah, it's good math. I'm quick on my feet.
Yeah, 10 times 12.
So, out of those 120 films, most of them are just turds. They don't go anywhere, don't do anything. Nobody sees them. But you might have one that fucking hits. You might have that Blair Witch Project that just blows up. And you know what? You've got it locked for 10 years.
Okay. So it's not so much that... So they're going in up front going, I know most of these are turds, but I need to have that same 10-year contract in case I get the Blair Witch.
Just in case it does hit.
Just in case one hits. If one hits, then bam, I am solid.
Right. But we're honest people.
Yeah.
And if this person's making us money and this thing hits, why wouldn't we continue to go, right?
Oh, well, we wouldn't have an issue with that.
No.
And the contract's even going to protect them on that side and say, well, we did everything. We're going to go over to the next year.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Again, it's a different world. We haven't actually spoken to anyone as of yet. Maybe someone will go for it. Maybe someone will think, yeah, these guys, they're smart, they're savvy. We're looking out for them. They're looking out for us. Let's make a deal.
Yeah, can't hurt.
I doubt it, but you never know.
Here's a $250,000 minimum, and here's a 2-year contract.
Right. Yeah, go have fun, boys. Yeah. And by the way, we want to partner with you on your next movie.
Yeah, here's another $250,000.
Right, exactly. So anyway, so that's go ahead.
Here's the other thing. There's this filmmaker, kind of an film entrepreneur, if you will, Jay Horton. He made a movie called Craving. That was his latest thing, and he does a lot of YouTube videos on the ins and outs of filmmaking. And basically what he said, and this is honestly true, a lot of people complain about their distributors fucking them over and this and that. He said, but baseline, if you want to get ahead in the film industry, make better films.
Yep.
At the bargain basement level, you should be making better films. And that's the truth. You have to honestly assess what you've made.
True.
Right? And I think we have honestly assessed what we've made. We have made a pretty good action horror film, but it's not the next Blair Witch Project, right? It's not the next Blue Ruin.
You're saying we're not going to make $40 million?
Probably not.
Yeah, but you're even honest about your past films.
Yeah.
Right? Make better films. Make that right. And not saying you should sign the deals we signed, possibly, because they were smooth deals, but you can see why they were positioned the way they were positioned.
Yeah. I thought my first feature film was the bee's knees. I really did. I thought this is going to go places. This is going to elevate my career. I'm on my way. I made a feature film. And you know what? It's not really that great. It's good for what it is, and it's completed, and it shows that the production team had some skill to get it from point A to point B, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not a great film.
But any distribution probably would have put you in the same position you still are today.
Yeah.
Okay, fair for the distribution.
Well, maybe or maybe not, because we don't know how good the distributors were actually doing for us anyway. Like, they may have done really well for the distributor. We don't have any real good paperwork. They never gave us the reports that were supposed to be given to us per the contract. Well, in the contract.
Yeah, no, they're supposed to be doing accurate and timely reporting, which we don't have.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But again, loose term.
Yeah.
All right. What's that mean right?
What does that mean?
Exactly. Well, in the film industry, Chris, over 10 years,
Yeah.
that means I have to give you something every once in a while as opposed to when things come in.
No, so if you sign with the distributor, you got to have them spell everything out down to the smallest detail. And you know what? Chances are they might not want to do it because, man, that's a lot of work, and it makes it harder for me to screw you.
Yeah, and if they don't want to sign legitimate, really good paperwork contracts, move on.
Yeah,
Go
don't do
somewhere
it.
else.
And because you can always put it out yourself. That was not an option 20 years ago.
Right, and that totally changed the game. Because if your object or goal is to get your movie so people see it, Film Hub. There's tons of places you can go to. There's a lot of places you can go to for an independent filmmaker to get his movie out there, to go, look, I'm out there for other people to see it. Because that's one of the goals, right?
That is one of the goals, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point, of making films is so people can see your films, right?
The problem is there's so many out there.
Yes.
How is your film going to stand out? And that comes, I believe, with the name actors. I think that helps make your film stand out, as well as the genre too. I mean, obviously our genre is action horror for Red Night of Skies, and that will help things out, I believe. But there are tons of other horror action movies.
Proof's in the pudding. We got a call with the distributor. We'll let you guys know how it goes. We talked a lot about what we think, what we're going to ask for, but we'll let you know what they said and how kind of we responded and what kind of contract we get. But Brock, you brought up a good point. Guy at work asked me today, going, if you had to pick a genre, if you had to pick something, for an independent filmmaker, what genre would you pick? And that was such an open-ended question, but I thought it was a good question from somebody who loves movies, following my journey, following our journey. But I was just like, I hate to say it to you, man, Sean, but it depends.
It depends, but because there are so many horror films, but that is actually the most bang for the buck, I'd say. So you can get a name actor or two or three or whatever. We have one really big name actor in our film, and they're not cheap, but they're still bang for your buck. Yeah, I'd do what we did with Red Knight, get Bill in here for as long as we did, and maybe next time we try and raise more money, for the next film and get 3 or 4 name actors in it.
So you say bang for a buck, you're talking about from a profitability standpoint to try to return a profit.
Yes, and I'd still believe action horror is probably the way to go for the type of budget we're using right now.
It's one of the easiest genres to make on a low budget. It has a built-in fan base. Genre-based films, horror genre being a huge genre. There are conventions just based around horror.
And those horror icons bring that bang for your buck, like I was talking about. And the fan base already in there.
So you were saying about bang for your buck for the actors and that kind of stuff, and my answer to him was it depends. Yes, would I eventually get to the horror action genre? Mm-hmm. Yes, I would. But the first thing I told him is I said, hey, everybody's got to be a level playing field for money, so we got to all say we're all ultra low budget. Because if you have an endless budget, we've talked about this before.
Oh, yeah, gotta make Avatar.
What could you do? Well, what could you not do with it? And then I just started going through genres or your reason for making the film. Is it art? is it because you want to return for your investors, or is it because you want to do this? I said, then you need to start saying, what can I afford within that? And I looked at action films. And I said, man, you need a car crash that costs money. You know, you need
Building
this
to
stuff.
blow up.
Well,
Somebody
and
on
you
fire.
need an action star who, if you want to get a real action star, name me 5 action stars that are going to come at a price that you can get from
You cannot.
right.
Not a legit star,
Action
no.
star.
Right. So it was fun just
Yeah, we're
walking
gonna
through
have
that
the
process with him.
We're gonna have The Rock on our next film. Yeah.
No, exactly. We just
like
started
20
walking
million.
through this, and he just goes, man, it's not limited, but it really depends on what you want to do for what your ultimate purpose is. And for our purpose, for 88 millimeter, it's to return a profit and make the next film. And the bang for the buck comes from the horror genre because it's cheap. Because, Chris, weren't you saying, like, you didn't think that? You didn't like that in your early stages? What were you saying earlier?
So essentially, I've done everything wrong you can possibly do in a film career. I really have.
Okay. Didn't mean to go there.
Amphetamine was what it was. It was my first film. It was essentially a neo-noir gangster film. And it's not a great feature film, but it was the first one. Everything that I made after Amphetamine, up to but not including Red Nighted Skies, was essentially a mistake. An expensive, time-consuming mistake. And let me explain.
You learn from them, though.
I learned a lot from them. I learned how to make movies. By the time I got to Red Knight, I sort of knew what I was doing. But essentially, there are several films after Amphetamine: Rhineland, Game of the Year, Sound of Nothing, Weldon Krieg, 35 Days, which essentially don't really matter. Personally, everything would have been much better if my very first film was of the exact same quality, had the exact same elements as Red Nighted Skies has.
Well, sure, everybody would say that, though.
Yeah. I mean, I was just talking to director Wyatt Weed over the weekend about that same thing. Like, man, I wish I knew 20 years ago what I know now.
Yeah, and you could say that about anything in any aspect of life, if you ask me. Not just filmmaking, but damn anything.
Yeah. But as far as film goes, first and foremost, do it because you love doing it. Right? Don't do it because you want to make money. Don't do it because you're trying to meet women or men or whoever the hell you're trying to meet. Do it because that's what you love to do. Because, yes, indie film sucks, but we got to do it anyways because we love doing it. We love making movies. We love being on set. It's part of our DNA.
Saw it this weekend with Nathan.
Yeah.
He loves doing it.
Yes.
Gosh darn, he is passionate.
Yes. And that, first and foremost, that's why you got to do it. However, if you're going to do it, man, you got to be smart about it.
Smart.
If you're not making movies that are sellable and you're not independently wealthy, you're kind of wasting your time.
Well, I don't know if I 100% agree because I think, if you're young and you want to be a movie maker, actor, you gotta try somewhere. You can't start off on a A-lister set unless you're really fucking lucky. I think it is tough, man. It is tough, but I couldn't tell somebody not to do it if they like it.
No. I don't think Chris is saying don't do it. Do it, because that's the first thing you said was passion.
Yeah.
Have your passion, do it, but listen to other people about what the mistakes they made.
Oh, sure.
And understand certain stuff is going to do better in certain climates, certain genre, right? Like you were saying, even about even in the horror genre, different things, right? You were saying tits and blood. You got no, seriously. There's different things that if you were to do something and you're going to make a horror movie, research, find out what sells and what's cheap and what's all these other things that you can put into it. That if you wanted to pick a genre, that's where I was going.
Well, James Dean made his first film, which was an exploitation film called Fontaine and the Vengeful Nun That Wouldn't Die. And he said it did okay, but he really went back and he really thought about how can I maximize the business side of things with the next movie, Triple Xmas, which is essentially a killer Santa Claus movie on a porn set. He did all that. He loves making movies. He loves horror movies. But he did it also as a smart business decision. Because that's what so many people, and, I'm just as guilty as anyone else. Punk rock, make art. that's cool, but it's not going to make you any money. And if you're not making any money, you're eventually not going to be able to make any films.
So that begs the question that I had coming from that is, most film people go into it, and I can't speak for every film people because a lot of them are art and a lot of them are different things and coming out of school and stuff, but do they want their stuff to be recognized and make money and be out there, right? Is that what you were thinking? Is that what most independent filmmakers think? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody thinks they're going to make a movie and it's going to hit like, Blair Witch. They're going to go to Sundance and they're going to have fame and fortune. They're going to be able to make bigger movies, make all the movies they've always dreamed of making, make the movies like their heroes have made.
But that's the process.
Yeah, it's a long-ass process, and you have to be smart about it. And being smart about it is making something that you can sell.
Within the confines of staying true to yourself a little bit? I mean, how do you balance the two?
That's a great question.
No, I know. That's the deeper question.
Well, we're learning that. We're seeing if that happens on Red Knight. I don't think we compromised with Red Knight, really, for what we wanted to do on the art side or the financial side, hopefully. What I mean by that is we knew we needed to raise X amount of dollars to make this movie. Chris wrote it the way he wanted to write it and didn't really compromise anything for his art. But we raised enough money so we didn't really have to compromise.
Yeah, but we purposely went into it from our experience, like you just explained, from everything else we did. We purposely picked the genre.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Based off of our decision to try to get the best ROI for what we were trying to do. And then we brought in, right, because scares are cheap.
Yeah.
Blood's cheap.
Yeah.
There's a big fan base.
Yeah.
Icon actors love doing their craft, so they're not as expensive as some of the other folks that love doing their craft. Because I think guys like Mosley and these other people love putting their things out there because they want to stay in front of their fans.
Yeah.
And they just have a passion for it, and it's just they know what they're doing. 100% they know what they're doing.
I mean, at the end of the day, I made the movie that I wanted to make.
For Red Knight.
For Red Knight at Skies. And whatever our follow-up film is going to be, I mean, I have one script done. I have another treatment in the works. They're both in the action horror genre. But essentially, I look at the filmmakers that have inspired me the most, and I've mentioned it before, John Carpenter, Walter Hill, Ridley Scott. All pretty successful guys. I know no one here has heard of Walter Hill, but look him up. He's done a lot of really badass films.
He has.
And Carpenter, obviously, is very successful. Did Halloween, did The Thing, did Big Trouble in Little China. And Ridley Scott, if you don't know who Ridley Scott is, don't even listen to the damn podcast. But the point is, those guys have worked in that genre and also beyond that genre. But I think they've stayed true to themselves.
Yes, I think so too. In that genre, though.
Yeah, I mean, Ridley Scott is, obviously, of the three I've mentioned.
Now, Walter Hill's out of that genre. He's in and out.
But I mean, Ridley Scott is the most successful.
Right.
Yes.
If he had just made Aliens,
that's all he needed to make.
But he's done a few other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go back and tell Sean, it depends.
It depends.
It depends.
Again...
Sean, you got money? Because I'll go make whatever you want me to make.
Exactly. If you have enough money, then do whatever the hell you want. Right?
I was taking money out of it, though.
Yeah. There is no right or wrong answer for that. First of all, do what you want to do. But also know that there's a business side to it.
Yeah. What do you got, Brock?
Nothing. I mean, that's important. It is a business. It's an art. I get it. But man, if you're wanting to keep doing it, you got to look at. You can be true to yourself and still make a business out of it.
Yeah.
You really, really can. And that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And if I were to give it, I guess I should turn this on Sean. If I was going to give anybody any advice on what genre to pick for a small independent filmmaker, if you're looking to get your stuff out there with a dedicated audience for the lowest budget you possibly can and possibly turn a profit, you got to pick action horror. That's probably the answer I would have gave him.
Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing right now.
Right. exactly. I think and it's a wise choice for us. So.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean a documentary can't sell, because they can and they do. And documentaries are also cheap to make. I mean, but if you want to really make an impact with it, it's got to have something that really hits hard.
Yep.
Very topical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of movement within there, like we just said about how James Dean's doing it, how we did it, how other people are doing it within that same genre. There's just a lot of mixing options, I guess.
Yeah,
for
like
people.
It's really tough to sell a low budget drama. A low budget drama that has no name actors, no stars in it. That's a really tough sell. It's not impossible.
Yeah, and same with comedy.
Yeah, comedy's hard because
But I'm seeing a
comedy's
lot of
very
shorts
subjective.
come out though, like that now with the dramas and those kind of things. I mean, I don't know. Is there a position for the shorts?
Shorts are great practice, but shorts aren't going to make
Is that what
any
people
money.
are doing it for? For shorts?
For practice, and the hopes of if somebody sees this, maybe I can
Make it longer.
yeah,
Or cast it.
yeah. I mean, you look at Sling Blade; it was a short, and then he turned it into a feature.
That was also 25 years ago or whatever.
It was, but it had big name actors in it too. It had Molly Ringwald and and
Billy Bob Thornton.
there you go.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about things I've seen. The longer length things I've seen come out of St. Louis. Well, All Gone Wrong was action. You know, that was crime. That great, but it had Tony Todd in it, so he covered a nice aspect there. But most of the stuff I've seen have been shorts that have been the dramas or the serious pieces that haven't been, the action horror kind of genre that we've been in. The features that I've seen coming out are in stuff we're talking about, like Dark at the Top of the Stairs and those kind of things that we've been mentioning on this podcast.
Yeah.
Oscar Tango Hellwater, those kind of things. Merry Xmas is coming out, those kind of things.
Triple Xmas.
Triple Xmas, thank you. Merry Xmas.
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis is turning out some stuff. I'm
And some-
very proud of them.
Some good stuff too.
Yeah.
I mean, the field is very different than it was, 15, 20 years ago. I mean, I would say what I used to watch, I would call a typical St. Louis film, and I say that with a fair amount of disdain because, they were always sort of, your kind of bog standard 3-point lighting and kind of crappy production design.
2 over the shoulders and a master.
Yeah. And
It's going to be on your tombstone, Jeff.
subpar acting. That seems like it's a thing of the past. I mean, some of the stuff I'm seeing now is just
amazing,
really good.
Yeah. Well, you know why things have picked up here in St. Louis is
Why is
because,
that?
well, first of all, the Indie Film.
The Indie Film Sucks podcast.
Exactly, has been bringing
it's
people together.
It's because of us.
It's been bringing people together, and no, but there is a little bit of an energy right now. But I think it's a little bit of us connecting to people, being more connected.
That's very cool.
And putting some energy into people, and it's kind of really exciting.
Yeah.
Because what we do is not only do we talk about Indie Film Sucks, we talk about
The highs, the lows, and the in-betweens
in-betweens.
of true independent filmmaking on the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Brought to you by 88mm Productions.
like and follow, Red Night at Skies.
Yeah, like, subscribe, whatever.
25th of November.
November 25th,
November
Red Night at Skies,
25th.
High Point Theater.
Historic High Point Theater.
We'll see you there.
Peace.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.